Hey, what's up? Editing Dak from the future, just letting you know that for the first 15 minutes and 22 seconds, I do tell a story about kind of a crazy car incident I was in, and if that's triggering to you for any reason, or you really are just not interested and want to get straight into the Demon Slayer Season 1 reaction, afterthoughts, etc., go ahead and skip to 15 minutes and 23 seconds. I will not hold it against you, I totally understand, but yeah, just letting you know that the incident itself it took place at a gas station. It's not really a car-on-car collision, but regardless, if that's triggering to you, feel free to skip it. Alright, back into the podcast. Thank you! 1, 2, 3, start recording, all of that fun stuff. Hey guys, what up? It is your favorite supervillain Dakota out here on Glue-Burns, ready to talk about some Demon Slayer. Oh my gosh, it's been about maybe a week or two since I binge-watched the entire, so far, as of May 13th, 2021, what is available out now for an anime for Demon Slayer. I know people have told me to read the manga and to, I'm ready to watch the movie. I'm hopefully going to watch it this weekend, and so I'll probably have a whole nother talking about that afterwards. Oh my gosh, everyone I've talked to said, hey, you're gonna cry. You're gonna cry from this movie, and I am so ready. I'm so ready to cry. I'm already going off the tails, but this whole podcast today is to talk about my reaction to Demon Slayer and my thoughts about it and what I think and all that fun stuff. Now, I've got my wonderful notebook here with some notes off the bat of what I thought, and I also have Hulu in front of me with all the list of the different the episodes, so I can remember what episode was what, because if any of you have really binge-watched a whole anime series in a night, or in 2 nights, or in a very condensed period, it's hard to really go back and distinguish between episodes or what was here and there, and so I'd really like to bring this up to remind myself. Oh, before I forget though, I'll have to put in a disclaimer at the beginning of the episode after I edit, where I'll end this story, but I really want to give a story of something that happened to me a couple days ago, because it's kind of crazy. Trigger warning, it's about a car accident. No one was hurt, I just want to let you know, but it is about, if you have triggers with, a car accident and stuff, I recommend either looking into the description where I end the story and go into the review, or hopefully I remember to put a disclaimer in the beginning, so just let you know. So I was actually visiting my partner in Atlantic City this weekend and met their family and everything, and I had a great time. All of that, it's awesome. It was cold as crap, you couldn't do anything on the beach or anything. It was just walking the boardwalk, which was really nice. I enjoyed it, and I got to check out the Hard Rock Casino, which I finally got to learn. I finally got to gamble as a 21-year-old, and I'm glad I gambled on the casino's money, because that sucked. I don't know how people can get addicted to gambling, because that shit sucked. Not fun. But I guess it's because I didn't have the dopamine rush of winning, so I guess I don't know what it's like to really get addicted. But either way, anyways, I was on my way back because I had to work on Monday around 11:30, and coming from a family of road trippers, I'm like, no worries, I'll just road trip at night. It's when no cars are on the road, it's easier, just nice and relaxing. I had a bunch of YouTube videos, documentaries I was listening to. I've been listening to a lot of Illuminati, and not Illuminati as in the topic, but the YouTuber Illuminati, shout out, good stuff, about her anti-MLM Mondays, and just listening to the histories of those, because those are fascinating. But anyways, about an hour and a half in, it's about 3.5 hours from Atlantic City to where I live, and I'm about halfway through my trip. I'm back in Pennsylvania, and I'm on the Harrisburg Pike, which is a big toll road, and I pull into a service plaza on the Pike. And service plazas, if any of you, I know some people don't rarely road trip and don't know what that's like, but big toll roads are really nicely maintained roads, and they have, because of it, you pay to be on these roads, they have really nice service plazas, which have a whole bunch of restaurants inside of it, and they'll have little convenience stores sometimes, and bathrooms, obviously, for people who are on the road for a long time, and gas stations attached to them. and it's big enough space where semi-trucks can pull in and everything, because that's where a lot of people use them as semi-truck drivers, because, you know, it's their job. But anyways, I pull over to get gas and go to the bathroom. And I go to the bathroom, I pull over to get gas, and I just finishing pumping my car full of gas, and I take the receipt, and I hop in, and as I'm like going towards handle my car to open it up and hop in, I'm thinking, I don't think I actually spent that much money on this trip. I think less than like $100. And I sit in my car and I go to grab my phone and I hear a BAM on the side of my car. And I'm like, what? And I look over my shoulder, and the fuel pump I was just at was now leaning against my car. And gas is spraying everywhere. And my mind is still trying to figure out what's going on and take in the whole scene. And then I saw a black, like, sedan, like a bigger car, emerge from behind the pump with a smashed in front bumper on its right side. And it hit me. This car just smashed into the pump I was using and basically hit it hard enough that it's now mangled on top of my car. And I was able to kind of like peek in and look at the guy. He seemed panicked, like he didn't just realize what he did, and he took off. He ran back onto the highway. And well, I mean, now I'm in this sticky situation, literally, because gas is spraying everywhere. And first thing is like, oh my gosh, I need to get my car out of this gas, because if it lights on fire, my car is gone. And so I pull it out of the gas that's spraying everywhere. And then I'm like, I know that most gas stations have an emergency switch, and I don't know if that's something that people have to press if stuff like this happens, or if gas attendants do it. And so I get out of my car to flag someone down. Some truck drivers are walking from their trucks out into the gas station, and I'm yelling got my car going, hey, bring attention to what's behind me is a gas pump looking like, you know, a majestic fountain over here spraying gasoline. And I yell for them to bring attention, and they're like, oh my gosh. I was like, how do I shut off the gas? Like, get someone to shut off the gas. And finally they got the gas attendant, who, the poor girl, she starts freaking out. She shuts it off, thankfully. And everyone's trying to figure out what just happened. And so I kind of go over there, and mind you, this is at like midnight. This is like midnight to 1 a.m. Yeah, it was actually at midnight. I didn't get out until 1 a.m. And but yeah, this is at midnight, and the poor gas attendant, I've learned later when talking to her that her coworker was a no-call, no-show, which was like, I think, the manager. And so she, not qualified really to help with this situation, is freaking out, understandably, this whole time, because now she has to call. Of course, I told him what happened. It's like, hey, a car struck my gas pump, and this and that, and thankfully I'm fine. I surprisingly didn't freak out too much. I was fine. I didn't actually think any damage was done to my car, but I found out later, yes, there's dents and scratches. It was just dark at night, and I have a black car, so I didn't see him at first. And but she had to call fire and police, and she's calling the manager, understandably going, what do I do? She called her boss, what do I do? This just happened. It's like, oh, call these numbers. And she's looking at this huge phone number list going, there's no numbers on there for that. So she's trying to find like the fuel specialists or something, and she's frustrated, understandably. I felt so bad for her. And but I stayed mainly for her, and also because I was in no rush. I left at night so I can have a couple hours to sleep, but obviously I can't anymore because I'm at the scene of basically a crime. So I'm surprised I didn't freak out more. I think it's because I was already on a caffeine kick from coffee I had with 2 espresso shots earlier to help me drive, and I think I was just in kind of an adrenaline rush and kind of laughing at the whole situation, still in a daze of what just happened. I was more upset that, yo, are you kidding? This is a new car. I have not even made my first payment yet on this car. Are you kidding me? This happened? I'm like, my insurance better not go up for this. But honestly, I wasn't too worried because there's cameras all over the gas station. They're to show that, hey, I was parked. I wasn't doing anything. I'm the victim in the situation, basically. And they're confident people that they say find him. And the gas station person, she said basically, they said, her boss, He's like, if for some reason your insurance doesn't cover this, the gas station will, because this is not something that happens, obviously. But hazmat later came, like the fuel people, like the cleanup crew came, and they actually assessed that there's so much gas, like it's more than 50, 60 gallons of gas spilled, that hazmat has to come out. The official hazmat team has to come out and take care of this. And it's just so crazy looking back on it. And I was like, wow, this is super severe. He's like, yeah, this guy hit this pump so hard he severed all the lines. And I'm like, first of all, there's barriers in front and behind of gas pumps to help stop people from backing into them or this and that. This guy came in at an angle. This guy came in at like a obtuse angle. Like, he sided it. And I'm like, how, like it's a service plaza. There's so much room. There's room for 2 semis to pass each other in these things because it's a fucking service plaza. I'm like, how do you hit this? Like, how do you hit a fuel pump like this? And not just that, hard enough that you sever all of the lines. It's crazy. And oh my gosh, I'm like, he's either drunk or high or distracted, something. He's not even just distracted. You must have been like drunk or high. Because to be at that speeds and to like drift that far or something, I'm still in disbelief. But police came, I gave my statement, I wrote a statement for the gas station too. I basically just wanted to leave and go home at that point. I was running on pure adrenaline. Oh my gosh, crazy. If you guys don't know me, I have a squeaky clean driving record. I've been driving for 5 years. I've been driving since I was 15, 16. I'm 21 now. And, I'm like, I called my insurance up because it's my first time. I've been driving for 5+ years, but I've never had my own car or my own insurance before. It's been a huge milestone for me this year, is to buy my own car and have my own insurance. And of course, this happens within the month that I get it. And so I called them up, the insurance, next day at work, and I'm like, hey, so how do I file this? Can you help me? I've never filed a claim, and this happened. I don't even know how to go about this. And the poor guy on the other side, he's like, I explained what happened, and he's like, I've never filed something like this before. And it had me cackling, because I was like, are you kidding? That kind of made me feel a little bit better that it's a freak accident is what it was. It was a freak car accident. So, and I think the scariest part out of all of it is that if it happened 10 seconds earlier, I would have been the one injured. I would have been the one that got hit by the pump. And it was within the 30 seconds of me getting my receipt for my gas. So thankfully I left that with them to look at the security cameras later, because she was not authorized as a manager to look at the security cameras. But yeah, I'm less than a week than it happened. It's been less than a week since it happened, and I'm still like reeling from it, going, whoa, that happened. I'm actually dropping off my car tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. Oh jeez, I gotta wake up early. Go drop my car off and have it estimated for damages. So yeah, kids, make sure to have good car insurance, even if you're a squeaky clean driver like me. Shit will happen. Even if it's a really shitty person when you're driving back from New Jersey. So it's just weird, because that's an hour and a half out. So they're like, we'll call you and this and that. I'm like, yeah, dude, I live over an hour away. Like, just please call me. So, but that's basically the end of my story. I just really wanted to tell it because I really felt like it was a story that I just wanted to tell, because it's not a normal car crash story. Again, I'm completely fine. I'm just a little shaken. My car is mostly fine. Again, I just have a small bump and some scratches. There's probably something else, some more bumps I don't see. It's kind of hard to see with this new black car. Yeah, I just got dinged up. So we'll see what the people say tomorrow at the gas place. Not the gas place, the collision center. But, oh, crazy stuff. And they said once they find this guy, and they'll take him to court for it, and it could be a while. And I'm like, this is crazy. They're like, this could take a year or so. And I'm like, cool, man. I mean, I don't want to, like, sue him or anything. I mean, maybe if I'm eligible to. I mean, I'm not hurt. He's fucking lucky I'm not hurt. But they're like, well, just so you can pay your what's it called? Deduction fees. And I'm like, it's a $500 deduction fee. Honestly, yeah, I'd be willing for him to pay that. He's gonna be in so much more trouble though if he gets caught for not just like my damages. He totaled that gas pump. I have a video of it. I think I'll insert it right here. What lovely weather we're having, everyone. That's where my car was. Rocco's fine. We just have a couple scrapes and bumps, and I have some adrenaline in my body. But yeah, gas is spraying everywhere. There's more than 50 gallons. We love that. But yeah, it just shows you like how mangled that is. He's gonna get in so much more trouble for that. And then he hit and ran. Like, not just that, he ran. I mean, he's gonna get like he's such a dumbass. There's cameras all over the place, and at the Harrisburg Pike, especially now with COVID, they don't have physical people in the booths. They just take pictures of your license plate when you go on and off. What a dumbass. Anyways, I've been going on for almost 15 minutes now about this story. Again, crazy, I want to tell about it. But now back to why you're actually here. And my review of the Demon Slayer season. Is it just one season? Let me look. I think it's just one season. So season 1. So this is my honest review about Demon Slayer season 1. And I guess we're gonna open up my notes. 1 second. Alright. I guess we're just gonna... Should I go through the episodes, or should I just go through my notes and then the people? And then, it's my first time doing this. Let's just go through some overall notes with the whole series so far that I've watched. First of all, it was great. I loved it. It was honestly a good anime. I can see it becoming a gateway anime for people for anime. And because it just has that very shonen feel. It's very intriguing and interesting, yet easy to follow, and really wants you learning more about this universe and what it does. Also, it kind of became a joke with my friends. I told them afterwards, but I mean, looking back on it, it's true. I really saw this show as like the love child of Naruto and Tokyo Ghoul. I mean, tell me if I'm wrong, but can't you see a lot of inspiration from both? Then again, it's like, it's one of those things where there's animes out there, people are like, oh, this is just Naruto because it's a ninja anime. No, it's not. Like, people take inspiration for other things, but at the same time, it's just something that is always a classic staple of types of anime, I guess. And so this, I can definitely see it, but I think what really tipped me off to be like, yo, this reminds me of Naruto, is the exams. What was it? The final selection. Here it is. Episode 4, the final selection. That's what really got me, where it's like, isn't this just the Chunin exams? Just basically with less people intruding in on the Chunin exams, but that's the feel I got from it. Let's put it that way. But it was good though. It was good. Regardless, it was still good. I just got really I could see the resemblance. Which is not a bad thing. I like both of them. I thought it was great. Tokyo Ghoul wise, what really got me thinking about Tokyo Ghoul with this series was when they really introduced characters. Oh, by the way, I should have mentioned from the beginning, this will have spoilers this will not be a spoiler-free review of Tokyo Ghoul. Tokyo Ghoul! I'm so tired. This is not Tokyo Ghoul. Yes, this will have spoilers for Tokyo Ghoul, I say, in a Demon Slayer review. This will have spoilers for Demon Slayer. I will be going into specific things that happen and that are spoiled and all of this stuff. So if you're looking for a spoiler-free review of Demon Slayer, I don't recommend this one. I apologize. If you want my spoiler-free review, it was great. it was great. If you kind of like a mixture of Naruto plus Tokyo Ghoul, it really has some really great attributes of both, plus its own mix, I guess. It's good. Yeah, let's just put it that way. It's good. What was I at? Oh, where I really got like Tokyo Ghoul vibes is when they introduced the characters of the doctor, the demon doctor, and then her little simp, basically. Her little boy, I forget his name. And that's also a thing with binge watching animes in such a short amount of time. Is like, I remember faces, I don't remember names. Sorry. So I had to like write a little list of the characters next to my notes and what I remembered them as. And yeah. Yeah, I don't think I have them on this list, unfortunately. But the Demon Doctor, people who know if watched it know what I'm talking about. Sorry to be really, mind you, I may have notes for these podcasts, but I don't have like a script. For my other videos, I'll have scripts, but this podcast is more of a flow of my thoughts, and it's really out there, guys. I apologize. But yeah, the Demon Doctor and the boy she's taking care of, it really showed like, hey, demons have their own kind of society too underneath. They kind of have a hierarchy. They kind of have people with jobs. They kind of have their own way of living underneath the society's eye. And they do have doctors. They do people who help them just for their kind. And they can have, despite what people think, there are kind in, I don't want to say sane, but like kind in demons with human sanity and human emotions and all of that. Like, they do exist, and it really gives a new depth to like, oh, well, you've got Tanjiro now on the inside, really knowing that obviously it started with his sister, but knowing that not all demons are like this. And instead of Kaneki in like Tokyo Ghoul with being kind of already I don't want to say half human, half ghoul, because it technically wasn't, but it's kind of that way. He really traversed both sides, and so he got to see really how messed up it was that these two societies had such bad afflictions towards each other. And Tanjiro is kind of like that in this sense, where he can see that like he's getting help from demons as well as humans. He's part of a human group that is sworn to kill these demons, but here it is, his own sister being his protector and his main helper, and the reason he is on this adventure. And then these people such as this demon doctor that's out here helping him, heal him and his sister, and helping him hide and fight also too. And he really gets to see that side of, they're not all bad. I need to really, before I take a life, maybe I should assess the situation. That's not the best way to put it, but it's kind of what I'm thinking. Like, you take a second glance at who is actually my enemy. So I thought that was really cool, and I was like, this is really like, this kind of took that idea from Tokyo Ghoul, and it's really putting it in a new light. It's putting it in a different show, I guess. And I love the idea of it. I love it. I love it. It may be cliche. I'm definitely, those are not only the two shows that do it. But it's wonderful. I love it. It may be cliche, but I love it. It's a reason it's cliche. Cliches are not bad, people. Like, some cliches, maybe when you're expecting something different, may be bad. Like, not something that's not cliche, that's awesome. Something that's cliche, no, awesome. Like, for me, sometimes it depends on the situation. I may bash on something for being cliche, but that's only if they've shown to be really creative as a history. To have something that may be so cliche, I may be disappointed. But something like this, where it's a huge, like, it's maybe something cliche, but I love it because it works and it's engaging and it's really plays on my thoughts of like, whoa, what if this happens? What if this happens? For example, when, what's his name? Zenitsu really, like, knew that his sister was in the box that he said is more precious than his life, but yet he didn't care. He knew it, but without asking any questions, without even asking Tanjiro, he really just protected that box and took a beating for it, even though he knew it was a demon inside. He didn't even know it was his sister. He just like, all right, I trust you. And so it's really cool to see. I think that was one of the things I love out of watching animes and fantasy shows, where there's always an exception, and that's what really drives home the interesting part of the exception in society. It's really what intrigues me, because I love seeing reactions from everyone. Reactions is one of my favorite parts about media, like media, movies, stories in general. I'm such a sucker for seeing how other characters in society reacts to when something is different. I love, like, I think that's what bothered me most about One Punch Man, but at the same time what keeps me is that these things happen and nobody knows it's Saitama. And I'm like, he needs the recognition. I want people to find out that it's him. What would they say? I want to know. And it kind of irks me, but at the same time keeps me interested. Kind of like, what's another great example? Hold on. I actually recently wrote a big list of, it kind of started into older animes I watched when I first started watching anime, then it just became into a huge what I've watched playlist. Mob Psycho does a really good job of that. Now I'm looking at my list that, you know, he's psychic. Some people slowly find out, and you really get to see how they react to it. And I wish more people would find out. I mean, Attack on Titan, what I've watched, the first 2 seasons way back in like 2015, you know, when they find out Aaron's a Titan, like, they took him, how society found it, they took him to court. I mean, that's honestly, for me, the reaction was awesome, because I felt believable. I felt like the government didn't know what to do, what would they do, and, you know, having someone say, I'll bring him under my guide, and if anything else, I'll kill him, this and that, and at the same time, people are like, this is great, we need him on our side, and some people are like, no, like, kill him, we don't need this threat. It's so interesting. I love that trope in any type of anime or media or movies, and you'll hear me talk about that a lot. It's great. Haikyuu, I'm going through my list and I'm just looking at different ones that kind of have this thing. Haikyuu is a little bit less like, Haikyuu is just kind of sports anime, and as amazing as it is, it has that cliche as well. It has Hinata with his jumping. Like, people don't expect it, but I love seeing the reactions, and then people kind of know him for it afterwards. So that's different, but like, you get what I mean. Any other ones of these? Oh, I mean, some of these, I realize that maybe it's not as cliche as I think it is. Some of these I can't really think of anything, but maybe just not be as like the focal point of things as maybe I think. I guess that's true though. I love it when it's the focal point. It's a huge secret they're hiding from society. When people find out, I love to see how they react. Like, how they react to this. And that's where I really figure out where I can pick out well-written characters, is when they react in a way that either I didn't expect but makes sense with their character writing, or ways that I did expect and pleasantly surprised that it was so well written that that's shown in the anime. It's always a great, like, if any of you are writers out there, you know, the show don't tell kind of aspect, where if you want someone to believe in a character's trait, show it through the story. Don't just say that they are this. Don't just say that they're a kind person. Show them in a way being a kind person, and it's way more believable. And so I love that. I love it. So maybe this isn't a complete list. Anyways, but some great stuff. I feel like there's some more on my list that I'm just not thinking of right now. But anyways, back to Demon Slayer. Oh, this is going to be a long video, isn't it? I'm already 27 minutes in. Then again, 15 of that was just me talking about crazy night I had. So, but yeah, going through some other big quotes. Like, I put on my notes, it was immediately engaging. It maybe cliche, but like opening up the series with, you know, parents are dead, family's dead, and I don't think I put that down immediately engaging just for that. Like, I knew something bad was going to happen, but I think it was more immediately engaging that just even the way it kind of built up who Tanjiro was in the mountains and stuff. It's something that can easily go very boring, but I feel like they really did a good job of keeping it short, simple, sweet, but yet interesting, seeing how he interacts with his family, who they are, in a short amount of time, in a single episode, about half the episode actually, when his family was alive, or even less than that, where, you know, I think maybe a fourth of the episode, because after that in that other fourth, he was going around the town, this and that, showing that he has a great nose, a sense of smell, and he's not unknown to like physically exhausting walking up and down a mountain kind of thing. But and that short period of time, they do such a good job showing his interaction with his family, and really getting attached to this family. So when they do end up, oh no, everyone's dead, like, you do feel sad, and you're like, damn, this is the first episode, this is, whew. It's, not to immediately go back to Attack on Titan, but they do that with the mom, they really do that, and they always like, constantly kind of bring back flashbacks of that, but to really build up more sympathy later on. But I feel like Demon Slayer does such a good job, just like immediately, they're not a well-off, but they're a well-knit family, and so immediately when they get taken away, you're like, you feel something. So, going through. I have a note about the animation is a step above what I've seen. Definitely, yes. As some of you know that know me in real life, or even on this podcast, now that you guys are gonna learn to know me through this podcast pretty well, I will not stop talking about, currently won't stop talking about King's Avatar. And what's really interesting to me is that it has 3 different types of animation in it. It has both live action animation of like clouds and everything that they put over top of like landscapes, and then they put in the shadowing and everything around that, whether either with CGI or traditionally drawn, and it gives it such an amazing feel. And I hadn't really seen any other anime kind of do this before until this anime. This anime really plays around with a combination of art styles, and like with the traditional anime they have, but then with their swords or their abilities specifically, like thinking about the Demon Doctor, when their abilities are activated, they really turn into very 2D. I mean, it's anime, it's still 2D, but how do I describe it? It's very like traditional paper drawings-esque. Is that a good way to put it? Like, how would you describe that? Please, someone who's also watched the show and knows what I'm talking about, please, how would you describe, like, when their abilities are activated and he has, like, the water? It's very flat, but it's very, like, paper, traditional, flat, drawn. It's very cool. It's very cool. You almost have to, like, look at it for yourself. I appreciate that. It's amazing. And then also I have underneath that point is the sweeping perspective shots. So when I have not seen many other animes, I guess. I think it's because it looks CG. I think it might be mixed with some traditional. I'll have to really do some research into that. But many times it's kind of something you see sprinkled throughout this season, is they'll have perspective shots of them walking and them zooming in and out, like I wish Josh were here. You know the type of shot, what it's called. He's going to school for all that. But it's really it's a very cinematic shot. It's very nice. And it really gives you a sense of like, whoa, this is a step above regular anime. So. Oh, I also have in here for the I'm just going through, I guess these are just main points I'm going through of the whole anime before I dive into like specific episodes. But I haven't watched the movie yet. It looks great. I am a sucker for train-based arcs. For example, mysteries, thrillers, etc. Yeah, I am. I've actually just finished writing a mystery-based D&D art, like on a train, like a train mystery arc for my D&D podcast. Are you just copying that from the McElroys? Yes, I am. But they didn't invent train murder mysteries. I just stole the idea of putting it into a D&D campaign. So yes. Am I at all shameless? No, not at all. I love train-based arcs. It is. I just feeling it in like. I think it's the fact that it's in a vacuum tight, like a vacuum. It's just in a vacuum as far as like things go. You can really play around with elements that can only be available in a vacuum on a train, where like outside elements can't really influence. Like people can't run off to another city because you're stuck on a train. It really helps set up environments that are small, concise, and you can really do things, I guess, with it that you can't do with other things as far as story writing goes. And I love it. I think especially with mysteries and thrillers, when it comes to murder mysteries, it's a heightened sense of dread because you can't leave. It's so funny too, because like when you look back on those stories with actually like a sense of logic, you're like, yeah, you can leave. The train conductor can stop the train. A murder has taken place. Are you kidding me? Like that calls for an emergency stop. So, but I think it's the sense of like for some reason the train can't stop. You're all stuck on this train. It's a small area, and he's anywhere, and these people who you know and know, he can be hiding, but there's nowhere really to hide, so there was one of them. It's really a heightened sense of excitement and adrenaline and dread, and I love that. I cannot wait for to watch the movie this weekend. I'm shooting to watch it this Sunday, and I am so hyped. Oh my gosh. It'll be my first time back in the theater since Rona too, so I'm excited for that. Next point I have for overall season: characters are well written and developed, yet have fun, outstanding traits or stereotypes. Yes. So I love, I'm making such weird noises, but I mean, again, I don't have a script for this. This is just my mind rambling, and so when it goes, if any of you listen to me talk and actually listen to these podcasts in full, I thank you, and I also apologize. My mind goes in 5,000 directions, and having to keep it to one train of thought is, I have to focus on keeping my mind at bay. But I think it's also great because my mind bounces around so much. I have so much to talk about that I could fill up a whole podcast, but then again, no one can follow what I'm talking about. But yeah, back to characters. I love it when well-written characters can come in so many different shapes and sizes. You can have very mysterious at the start, kind of like when you meet a real person. You're like, I don't know much about you. People don't think of that right when they meet someone for the first time, like a coworker. But when you really think about it, they are kind of mysterious. You don't know really anything about them. It's not like they're being shy and shut off and I can't tell you who I am. It's nothing like that. It's just, as far as information goes, it is mysterious. You don't know who this person is. You don't know anything about them. And so when I talk about a character being mysterious, that's usually what I mean. But character writing can be really great in that sense, where you really go, hey, you don't know anything, you're just a normal person, you really don't know anything about them, they really just don't show you your true colors, they're just kind of putting up a face of, hi, how are you? Those can be really well written characters where you kind of see slowly through the cracks of who they actually really are, or just really show them develop a true personality, organically. That's the word I'm looking for, organically. It's really nice. In this case, I also like when each character is kind of known for have this one outstanding trait or stereotype or kind of quirk about them, and but slowly through the story you see them develop a full personality. They're still like that, but they also have more to them. It's deeper than that, and I love that too, because that's very organic as well. When not only when you meet somebody in a college or high school, and if they're not the person that's going, hey, hi, how are you? This is me, but it's not really me. I'm just kind of trying to be friendly up front. But I don't tell you everything because I don't know you yet. But you either have that people, or you also have people who are kind of, I don't want to say outcasted, but in a sense they're known for being this type of person. And that's the kind of people who don't know them as. And either they're just upfront with you at first, or not shy, and they're just kind of known for being like that, or an incident or something. It's sad that it happens to people. They really get typecast or stereotyped for stuff like that, or they're just known as, it's that person who does this. Stay away from them. But if you really get to know them, they really start to develop, oh my gosh, this is a real person. This person has feelings, this person has interests, this person has hobbies, this person has a story. And I think that's the route that Demon Slayer went with. It's great. You've got Zenitsu, Akatsuma. I love this character. Zenitsu? Is it Zenitsu? God, I'm still learning my katakana, hiragana. So I don't know if that's something where you blend the I in, but regardless, I love his character. At first, I'm like, I don't know if I really like this character. He's kind of over the top, but oh damn, the more I got to learn this character and really got his backstory, this and that, and I fell in love with this character. He's great. But of course, he was introduced as this whiny crybaby that is weak and this and that, and I didn't know how he survived the final selection, and later you find out why, and it's kind of cool, and he's still like that throughout the series, even after you learn about him, but you feel like you have a deeper connection with him, and that is amazing story writing. Gotta love that. You've got the girl, the butterfly in her hair. That's the younger sister, the adopted younger sister of Shinobu. And, like, yeah, the younger sister Shinobu. But you just knew her as this really quiet, like, serene girl that just doesn't talk. And you find out later that there's some deeper meaning for that. And you really get to see that she has a lot of internal thoughts and struggles. And then you have Inosuke. Is that how I pronounce it? Inosuke. And, he's a very stereotyped, like, raised in the wild, doesn't know societal culture and rah rah rah, fight me, like, that's how I know in the wild. But then you really get to see his struggles with, that's the way he was taught in the wild, was just strength, but he's probably not as strong as he thinks he is, and, he has his own confidence struggles with that, and also with that stereotype, his societal struggles in slowly learning to, like, adapt to them organically. And, like, I could talk forever about how well written characters are, and so I think that is great. As far as, like, the heroes go, wonderful. Tanjiro may be a little, like, cliche for, like, an anime protagonist, but at the same time he's so well written as an anime protagonist that he doesn't feel cliche. Looking at it from afar, he kind of looks cliche, but, like, when I look back on it, on his characters, like, he doesn't feel cliche. He's wonderful. That's how well done it is overall. And then I put both villains and heroes, because the villains, I am such a sucker for a well-written villain. I want to know more about the main villain. What was his name? Let me look at my little chart. Oh, big demon man evil, Muzan. Kibitsuji. Alright. We're just gonna call him Muzan. So, Kibitsuji, Muzan. That's him. He's very perceived as, like, he's just evil for the sake of evil because he's the oldest evil being, and I kind of get those vibes, kind of like a Dio vibes, where it's just like he's evil because he's evil. But I feel like, mind you, I've not read the manga, obviously. So people are telling me I need to read the manga because it's done. But, I feel like there's some more story there. I'm like, why does he have a family? Why is, like, to blend in? Like, I'm getting Kira vibes from JoJo. I'm like, he has a family he's kind of pretending to be with. Like, is his family know about his stuff? Does this and that? Like, it really gets me thinking. I'm like, I want to know more about this. I want to know about him. And also the fact that he shows up as a woman later, a woman, and he shows up as a female presenting and as a woman, and I'm like, it reminds me kind of Loki, as, like, I'm guessing he's gonna be very gender fluid, and I'm hoping that stays, because I love the idea of, like, the oldest evil being kind of being this not really bound to gender. They're just like an evil entity that kind of shape-shifts into whatever it needs to be. And I hope that sticks, because I love that idea. Like, the pureness of evil is not something that can be genderfied. And I hope that sticks. Oh yeah, a couple points down I have the main villain is very intriguing. So, mind you, I took these notes like a couple days after I binge watched it. I was at work and I'm just like, I need to write down my thoughts like a couple days later, what I still think of it, like a week later. And points rod. Flip side character syndrome. Oh. What was I defined as that? Nezuko is awesome, especially at the end being introduced to the team. Oh, that's right. So I dubbed kind of like the exception society of like these lines are always drawn, but you have this exception that really raises the intrigue of the whole premise of the story. I call that flip side character syndrome. And so, for example, you know, again, Attack on Titan, you've got the Titans and Eren. You got Titans and humans fighting, and you suddenly got Eren, who's a human and a Titan. You've got Tokyo Ghoul, which is, you know, Kaneki really rocking the line of both. You've got, where's my thing again? I mean, this is nothing. I should have written down all of that. You just, like, whatever the story is, and there's always that Mob Psycho being, like, this one... No, that doesn't count, though. Because, no. Flip side characters, when you've got these two sides at war, and you've got one of the sides is now an exception for both, and they really get to see both sides of the situation, because from that perspective. And so I put that as flip side character syndrome. It is not a coin term. I needed a phrase for it, and so I called it that. And I put flipside character syndrome with Nezuko is awesome. It so easily can be so, like, I just said cliche is not bad, but cliche can be both good and bad. And so for that, I feel like sometimes it can be very cliche. And I feel like for this, it's awesome. I said, especially at the end when she's being introduced to the team. Again, love the reactions when they saw the whole team and they were very conflicted, and I loved that. But at the same time, finding out that Giyu really put his life on the line for these two was... Oh, awesome. I loved him. Oh, I love him still. I really want to know how the demon race works more. Still a little confused. Yes. I think it'd be better if I read the manga to really understand kind of how, like, why are some demons, like, have human emotions and thoughts and feelings and seem very almost more human than demon. And then you've got demons who are kind of struggling to be with both. Like Nezuko, if she wasn't art trans, like, she still had feelings down inside, but had a hard time suppressing them against the demon urge. But then again, at the end, they're like, she's different because she has human emotions and feelings. Or was that the end or was that at the beginning? I think that's when he transed her. Anyways, but it's like, but at the same time, you've got the doctor and the boy who they're the same, and you've got demons working for Muzan, who, oh, what's the girl with the magic balls called? The Tamari demon. What was her name? Two demons named Tamayo and Yushiro. Tamayo and Yushiro came to Tenjiro's rescue. Oh, those are the doctor and the boy. Tamayo and Yushiro. Yushiro. But what were... Yahaba. Is that what their name was? Alright, I'm looking too much into this. I should have known their names. I should have put on the list before this, but the girl with the balls, the Tamari balls, you guys know what I'm talking about if you watched it. Like, how are... I mean, the Arrow guy, too, like, how are they different? Are they the same as Nezuko and all of them? Have they really fought off their demon urges and are just demons with, like, humans but with demon powers? Like, I want to know how this works. How are some demons, like, so ravenous and just can't hold back against the urges? And if it has to do with the amount of Muzan blood they're given, how does that work? Like, I'm so intrigued because Nezuko couldn't have been given that much compared to like the Tamari and Arrow demon, right? Like, it's so confusing. I want to know how that works and what categorizes it. So that's got me intrigued in that. Where am I at for time? I'm at 46 minutes. I'm actually doing pretty good. All right, cool. Still going through my notes. Demon Slayers are not under the government, which I like, and I see the possible troubles that will get them into trouble. Okay, yeah. I almost forgot about this. Something that was with My Hero Academia, which is, I kind of find a turnoff, but also intriguing, is that the whole thing is that it's a government-formed, like, a government-integrated hero system. They're underneath the government, and it really gives me, it really brings into question, and, like, not question, but really brings up stuff that, you know, Captain America Civil War brought up as, like, intriguing thoughts. Like, what will happen if we need to do this, but we're bound by the government? We won't be able to do stuff that we maybe need to do to do our jobs right and save people. And My Hero Academia really dives into, like, what was it? Deku's in the hospital, and they're like, you kids did the right thing, but unfortunately we'll have to, like, arrest you or this and that if it wasn't for this, or, you know, it really brings into question, like, in these shows. I'm kind of glad they mention it, because it's like, what will happen if, you know, this happens, if the government steps in and is like, hey, you can't do this, or they become the government. What if the government becomes, like, an enemy, a side enemy? They have to hide their stuff from the government, which gets in the way of them helping people. Or maybe at one point they have to work with the government to be able to do what they need to do. I like the fact that they mention that. I'm like, will this get them in trouble in the future? I mean, Tanjiro just kind of walks in with a sword to the towns, and even they were like, whoa, who are you, and what do you need? Like, what are you here for? So I'm really intrigued to see how that will continue on with the series, especially with, you know, some of the damage they do and the government steps. What if, I mean, Tanjiro and Nezuko became fugitives within their own organization, where they had to be, you know, kind of brought into their own custody. What happens if there are actual, you know, warrants out for their arrest, these demon slayers, by the government? Or are there like insiders that help with that to make sure that they can properly run without any disturbance? I'd like to learn more about that. Oh, and also I'm glad that the stuff that, like, I'll just put this in my own words, kind of the training arcs in this, like the one before the final selection where he actually learned to become a demon slayer, I'm so glad they really, it was not just like a montage and then it was like, I think it took like it took 2 episodes. It was a lot, and even some of 4. And I'm really glad that it was not just like 3 weeks later. No, it was a whole 1.5 years later. It really showed it took a long time. I think it took more than that, actually. But I'm glad the process took years and not unimaginable, and it's not unimaginable. Like, it really shows that it took patience. It took self-discipline. It really took, and not just a burst of like hard work for 2 weeks and suddenly, you know, congratulations, you're now this thing. And like it's really believable in my eyes, where someone can work for almost 2 years towards where Tanjiro's at now. And I appreciate that. That's just good writing. It's just good writing in my book. It's not a montage that showed maybe like a month and now someone's super powered or something. I appreciate the good writing. So what else? What other things I have in this list I haven't mentioned? Oh, last one I just have is that the trio of friends. Like, I put they're quite the motley crew. The chemistry between the 3 of them is so well written and makes seeing all of their reactions and interactions fun to watch. Yes, it's very, their 3 personalities are so different, yet they makes her interact, but so, again, very well written as characters, so they're very different. The 3 of them fundamentally are so different, but you can see them interact with each other and agree, or this and that, or how they admire each other, and how they react to different situations, and how they can deal with, you know, how Tanjiro deals with Inosuke versus Zenitsu. And, like, it makes the whole show, like, anytime out of battle, it's still so intriguing to watch. It's wonderful. It's wonderful. And now going through, I'm just gonna briefly go over oh no, computer, no. So now I'm just gonna briefly kind of just gloss over the episodes. I've gone through like just the main things. I really like, just also while I'm like looking at the art, which it just came to mind too, and I talked about how I want to learn more about how the demon race works, and like, how do their powers work? Do some have powers, some don't? Like, does Nezuko can go, you know, change her size? Can all demons do that? Is it just to her? Is it gonna be one of those things she's gonna keep developing powers, but is it the thing that all demons can do? Can they like retaliate and like also develop new powers? It's gonna be, I can't wait to see how that's gonna be done, or maybe disappointed that nothing's done about that. I don't know, but I don't want it to be I mean, Deus Ex Machina-esque enough. Like, it was cool to, like, at the last minute she had her blood jutsu kind of thing come in and saved. That was an epic moment, not even gonna lie. That wasn't even Deus Ex Machina. Like, even if it was done so well. Like, I don't even care. It was cliche and I loved it. That was probably a good way to put it. Cliches are fine as long as they're executed wonderfully. Like, I think that's a good way to put it. But, alright, so we're going over the episodes. Episode 1, Cruelty. Again, I think I've already said what I need to about that. It was very well done for a first episode, as far as, like, maybe it may be cliche, but it was done well. You really felt sad for them when you saw it. Not even that, but Tanjiro and the whole thing fighting with his sister, trying to help her snap out of it, and then Gyu showed up. That was a great scene. Oh my gosh. It really helped introduce who Demon Slayers were, what demons were, kind of how they worked, and the whole the struggle, right? What's the word? The conflict God, I need to get back to an English course. The conflict right off the bat, and it was great. Like, I have nothing more to say about it than I already haven't. Episode 2, the trainers Sakoniji Ukurodaki. I loved the trainer. The teacher, he was a really cool character. I like the fact that he never showed his face. I like the fact that the more you learned about him, I'm like, does he not show his face because of what he believes, because of guilt, because of, other reasons, like to not be recognized by demons? I'm not sure. Was he like disowned from the demon slayers, even though I heard later on he was really high up, something happened? Like, why does he have a mask on his face so much? And obviously he makes masks for his trainees, his little adopted children, I guess. But at the same time, it's almost like, why he keeps training them, and he gets so connected, but why do you keep getting children and training them, knowing that almost all of them were killed? It's like, I want to know more about him as a character. Like, why? There's some complex emotions in there I really want to know about. So, also the fact that we find out that, actually not this episode, I think it's in 2 episodes, we find out that Nezuko, like, is regaining her energy by sleeping and not taking in blood. I want to know if that's something that all demons can do, or if it's just her. I really want to know more about that, because that could be a really cool way for, especially the demons who are more integrated with human society, to really help them maybe integrate more and be a more peaceful race, instead of having taken human blood, if they just find a way to kind of hibernate. I would love to see that touched on more, or if that's just kind of an exception, I guess, for her, but interesting. Episode 3, Sabito and Makomo. I need to say something. I was like, I love this. Like, I say that way too often. But overall, like, I love their character. Like, again, I feel like I'm repeating myself. I'm a broken record, but it's so true. It's been a while since I watched an anime, guys. Maybe it's just like, maybe it's because it's been a while since I've actually binged a series where I'm like, oh my god, the character writing is so good. But I do, like, so maybe, like, it's better than it maybe actually is. But overall, it did feel like something was off with them. You did after a while, but at first I had no idea. But it was really, I liked the fact that the children of, the ghosts of the children of past trainings were kind of helping out this kid. It was kind of cool. And then later you found out, obviously during the final selection, that their souls were kind of trapped there because they were killed. Which he says that he's killed many of his students. Why just those 2? Are there more? Why were the only 2 ones that came to help Tenjiro? Were they the only 2 that felt like they had more to do, like on Earth still, and their souls felt trapped to Earth? Like, I want to know more about that. And also the slicing of the boulder. It's very cool, very cool. I liked just, again, it felt very, it didn't feel unimaginable to see someone train that hard and this and that. Oh, and to, like, the passage of time, see his hair get long, which later you see pictures of his dad and you're like, oh, the resemblance though. We love that. So, you see the blisters on his hands, this and that, like, it's the little things like that that really make it believable. You really feel this character's struggles, that he really had to struggle for this. And what makes it more, you feel like he deserves it. Final selection, aka Naruto Chunin exams. Like, I mean, why are you booing? You know I'm right. Like, oh, it was great. That was interesting though too, because I'm like, where would they get? How did they capture demons alive? Like, are there certain demon slayers who just do that to bring them from here, or? That's piqued my interest on, like, why and how they would do that. My own steel. Oh my gosh. I'm reading the description and they all got crows, and I forgot that you got the little sparrow. Adorable. He's the best character. Prove me wrong. Like, so, only 4 storms survived. Like, oh, not many people have survived this much before, which, wow. So, I'm just gonna kind of skip past that. I don't remember that much being in that, except just kind of introducing briefly to, like, the other characters that survived and the forging of the sword, which it was already kind of like the special one kind of cliche where, wow, no, you got your blade turned to black. Not many do that, and not many live to know what that does. Which, obviously that's going to come in later to be like the secret, his special power reveal, kind of like JoJo, kind of like how you find out what Star Platinum actually does, like we're gonna find out what his blade actually does later on. That's gonna be a huge thing, so that's gonna be like a final battle thing. I can bet you money now that's gonna be a final battle reveal, or at least a season ender. So episode 6 has sort of been accompanying a demon. I love this because I knew I was gonna actually see Nezuko and Tanjiro really work together and really seeing like how he works, but also like really seeing that I forget that they were not a government agency, so to really see the people themselves be like, who are you? And they're like, I'll help you. And they're like, okay. And they're desperate, and so they're just helping them, and see them take down this demon was really kind of cool, and they really respect them. I really appreciate that the girl who got taken in the beginning, as dark as it seemed, I appreciate that she was not brought back alive. I really feel like that brings a real sense of overall sense of not just dread, but like how dark and real this universe is and why these people are needed. And it packs a lot of emotion where I feel like if she's brought back, just wouldn't have been there. And so it really gives a sense of why they're important. And even these smaller demons could do a lot of, how dangerous they are. And I love that. So episode 7 was on Kibisuji. Damn it. It's been a while since I've done my lessons. I know I've been not traveling, but like I've been college and I had the car thing. That's the traveling I mean. So I haven't kept up on my lessons, but I've gone through the base levels, the first 2 base levels, which means I've gone through all of the hiragana, and then I'm on the second part of strengthening it, and I've basically gotten through all of the base level 1 of katakana, which is knowing all of the symbols. And so I'm just like, it's been a couple days and I'm like, oof, how do I put these together again? So Kibitsuji, Muzan, again, it was really interesting to see. I forgot that he was like a mountain boy, like not really big on the cities, and it was hilarious. It was plain and simple seeing him like with the lights, like a panel straight out of the manga, his eyes bugging out, like poorly drawn, frazzled, trying to comprehend the city he was at. I love that. That was great. Take a shot every time Dakota says I love that. I love this. So very I loved the chase through the city. It was cool. I thought it was interesting that he just let Nezuko like walk freely at the night. I mean, I guess it was night, but like even though it's a lot of light out, so it made me think like, so I guess they're fine with artificial lights demon wise, they just can't be in direct sunlight. So is it like a vampire thing? I guess. Alright, episode 8, the smell of enchanting blood. That's where I was like, alright, this is, we've got some really cool society clashing things. And it was cool seeing how they really operated and survived without trying to, because they were good people. They just wanted to, I mean, they're good demons. Can you call them people? Yeah, we'll call them people. They're humanoid. They're good people. They just in an unfortunate society where they're seen as less because of how they were turned, and in some cases it wasn't their fault, like they were attacked and now they're this way, but they're still civil. That's the word I've been looking for. They're civil, like civilized, and really seeing them kind of had to be in a life fighting, but also sticking to, even though they're being shunned by society, they're still helping people and they still have no ill will. I love I like the relationship that the little boy has with I forget their names. With the doctor, he's very much a lot of, even though she made him this way, he has no ill will. He still loves her loves her with all of his heart and admiration. It's wonderful. Oh, there's so many episodes. Maybe I should like stop and just kind of gloss over. Where am I? About an hour. It's not that I care about how long these episodes are. I'm just like, I have other things to do tonight. So, we're just gonna go over the whole battle with Tamari Demon, the Arrow Demon. Very interesting, very cool how they had to play on, he couldn't see the arrows for a while and then he gave him his sight. It's very cool, very cool, very, very cool. Very well done, and very interesting. I love things when they take a battle, but they make it, and they obviously put a twist on it. Very cool, very cool. Episode 10. Episode 11, Tsutsumi Mansion. That's where we really get to see the Zenitsu Agatsuma? I did have that written down. Okay, I was like, did I have that written down in my journal? Is that his last name? Or is that his first name? Either way. But it's written in English, so I'm like, do they put the last name first, or it's like, last name first as it would be for in Japanese, or is it because it's English they put their first name first? Either way, great character introduction. Really, welcome to the team. And Inosuke just kind of enters like there's no introduction, which I think is really cool too. You really builds intrigue for a character, especially as weird as him. The whole fight there with like the mansion that really goes around, they really got to play around with their perspective and the sweeping camera motions, especially during that fight. It's wonderful, 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 wonderful. Helping the kids. I'm glad in this situation, I'm glad all 3 kids came out. Like the one situation with the girl who did not survive, I kind of liked it for that situation. She didn't survive. This one, I'm glad the other kids survived. Call me a hypocrite, but like we got across the demons were dangerous in this one. Also the fact. Again, I want to know how the demon classes, like, how they're set up, because, like, they were all competing with each other and this and that, and I think they explain it later, that, like, the more they eat with, like, the special types of blood and this and that, then they compete for those to really strengthen themselves as demons. But then you've got, like, other demons who, it doesn't seem like they need that, and they're still stronger, and you've got, like, again, the doctor, I'm bringing it back, because it's important, that really doesn't seem like, I guess, she has blood she survives with, but she still seems powerful, and it's not like it's special blood she doesn't eat, just try to eat more than she needs to. So, but, questions for other times. Oh my gosh, I almost forgot about the biggest, like, I guess, arc in this season, which was kind of the spider family. When I tell you the twist at the end when I found out they're all not all related, they're actually not a real family. They're just kind of people playing house for the sake of the son's desires to feel like that. Really got me. It really got me. I really stuck there. Something stuck to me with that. And because it felt like a kind of a cult, but not. Because when the girl tried to leave with her and then she ratted them out, and then her body was to be strung to really as a warning. It's very cultish. Almost forgot it. I'm bouncing around looking at these episodes. The fact that one of the episode 17 is called "You Must Master a Single Thing." I think that's where I really connected with Zenitsu even more, because I've failed at a lot of things. I've been someone who's seen as, when I sports in this, I was never good at sports. I just tried to be there for fun, but I remember being made fun of for like not being great, and or sly comments here and there, and it hurts. And this and that, and to have this character that really struggles with just being what society wants him to be, and I really attached myself to this character, and to have their master be like, it's fine, just master one single thing. It's all you need. Don't be a master of everything. Just try to excel at one thing at a time. Or if you even can't do the other ones, just master that one thing to the point where no one else can touch you. It really, anime really brings out great quotes and great stories and great lessons, and this one stuck to me. It really did. Just you must master a single thing. And it brings us back to the whole reactions too, because when people think that he's very, very weak, and then he kind of goes into the unconscious mode where he uses that one single thing. Oh my gosh, when the spider was like, oh my god, you can only do one thing? How pathetic, you're easy to take down. And then obviously, boom, the lightning crashes, and before blinking of an eye, he's taken down. And his reaction to that. Like, who is this dude? I love that. I cannot wait to see more of Zenitsu really showing who he is. And I cannot wait to the day where he figures out that all of the epic stuff he thinks that people are doing is himself. And I think that whole kind of character quirk of him not knowing he's doing that is really also a metaphor and a message that, like, people who are like this don't realize how good they are. They don't give themselves enough credit. They don't realize how amazing they are. And I saw that, and I'm like, I'm kind of tearing up now, because that's the word I'm looking for. He's a really great metaphor for imposter syndrome. And that's something I've dealt with for a couple years now, like really bad imposter syndrome. I've been living in this new state for about a year, and only now am I feeling like I'm allowing myself to feel like I can somewhat belong. And I still feel like I don't belong in the college I'm going to, even though I'm just finishing up the semester and this and that, and like I don't belong in this class and this and that, and it's tough. It's been something I've been going to therapy for a long time, and for my past stuff, like the Air Force, ROTC, and everything, it's a lot, and to see this really shine through as a character, basically, and also hit this thing. This whole unconscious thing is really just a big metaphor for imposter syndrome, and me wanting him to find out that he is amazing, and it kind of struck with me like, wow, like there's probably, if I'm the character of my own anime, there's probably somebody out there wanting me to do the same thing, and it really hit home. Like, that might sound really sappy, but let me be sappy. So out of all the characters, I cannot wait to see Zenitsu really develop more as a character. So. Yeah, as far as, okay, going back to cliches, with this whole spider fight, with him, like, wanting this pretend family, I kind of like how it's played out, where he wanted a family more than anything, and he just kind of went about it a wrong way. That, again, I could see it almost as a metaphor for something else. How I saw it was, and they kind of dig into his backstory a little bit too, but, like, when kids grow up with a broken household and they've only known family as that, and then they get older and that's the only way they know how to have family, and kind of sadness follows them because we're never brought in a healthy way. It kind of reminds me of that when seeing this character, and so it kind of made me feel bad for him, but at the same time, and when he wanted that true bond of a family, and then he sees that within the actual brother and sister, I felt that was kind of a little cliche when he's like, your true bond of brother and sister. I'm like, nah, I mean, yeah, it is kind of, I can see it, but I felt like it could be written a little bit better. But regardless, it was still like, it's something I could overlook. It wasn't too bad, because they did all of the writing with a pretend family anyways. Oh my gosh, I'm looking under the episode 20, the father's dance, like having I've always wondered that, the fact that Tenjiro, they've always mentioned stuff about fire, and then you see his father with the fire dance, and I'm like, that's weird, because like all the attacks are water, like that's such a yin-yang thing, like that's such opposites of each other. Like, how are they going to play with this into, why are they talking about his family being associated with fire when his stuff is all water? And so I do like they turn that water into a fire at one point, and now that I mention it, the whole water into fire, it kind of reminds me of Avatar: The Last Airbender, where, despite, it's Iroh saying, hey, these things may seem very separate, but they're actually almost very similar with each other. Water and fire are both very almost fluid. I'm a chemist, I know that fire works almost like a fluid. Mark my word, I am credited, said no one. But it makes sense now looking at it, kind of how a fire and water can kind of be connected in that fluidity motion. I mean, i.e. look at the dragon dance from Avatar: The Last Airbender. So, going more down the list, we're almost through. 21 Against Corpse Rules. That's the one where I'm like, wow, Giyu, I loved you before, and I love you even more now. I'm glad we've seen more of his characters. He's a very reserved, cut-off character, very stoic, where you really don't know what he's thinking. And I really cannot wait to see more. This character really be well written. And you want to talk about stereotypes and quirks, but yet as characters, may I introduce you to the entire, like, the Hashiras? Oh my gosh, all of them kind of had, like, when you meet them, they're like this, or they're like this, or there's something they're mentioned that, oh, I'm going to associate this character with this. Basically, you know, the very flamboyant guy, I forget his name, but he's very, you know, oh, why are you just doing a very flamboyant style? Like, why don't you do a flair? Like, oh god, I think that's great, first of all. I love being extra. I can see myself loving this character, but at the same time, I'm like, that's a little overboard, my dude. But regardless, like, I think of that character now, I think of big, over flamboyant, anything, someone who's very much into that. And in each character in that Hashiras kind of has something like that. And they're also identified with a certain type of, I guess, what was it called? Like, type of style. You've got fire, you've got love, you've got wind, you've got poison, or she's the insect, not poison, but regardless. And so really seeing him as these, like, alright, you know him as this, but I bet you, especially with, I watched the new movie where it focuses on one of these Hashiras, to really see them open up as more than just that as a character, and I'm very much looking forward to that. So, the Hashira meeting, I love the reaction of them really putting Nezuko to the test and everybody having different objections and seeing how it went. I was a sucker for that, it really was. Rehabilitation training, that was fun to watch, I enjoyed that. I went on for 3 episodes too. About 2.5 episodes. Again, it was like slow and drawn out, so it really, but at the same time it was very fast paced for his montage, but it was also shown over a long period of time, so it felt very real, felt very achievable for someone in recovery. And really seeing Tanjiro really learn the new style and his breathing, and also seeing the other 2 in the crew inspired by that and see him kind of go through all of that. That's like, I feel like I'm just a broken record. It's just really well done. The 3 girls that beat him with the rug beaters was, I think, one of my favorite parts. And obviously you get to see the other girl's backstory, which you find out that Shinobu's like whole personality is basically fake. Was really interesting. That's honestly a shift I never expected, but it made sense now where everything, because she's, you know, doing this whole facade of not really who she is, but almost as a memorial of her sister. Chef's kiss. Great. Episode 26. Episode 26, the last one of the season, aka the one where all the animation budget was on. The whole scene where, like, it was almost which way was up, which way was down. Like, what's the famous artist that has, like, the never-ending stairs? Hold on, we're gonna look this up. Never-ending story. Staircase painting. Who is the painter? Penrose. Roger Penrose. And Escher? Penrose and Escher. They do a lot of perspectives of, like, the optical illusions. That's the word I'm looking for. Optical illusions of, like, the never-ending staircase paintings, where, like, you know, you think it's going up, but wait, is it going down? But now it's going up. The whole thing was an illusion, and you had to think which way was up, which way was down, and even the people inside it were like, "Whoa, what's going on?" And the animation was gorgeous, having them zoom through that and it changing was well worth the budget. Very happy. And again, I'm hoping that Muzan continues to be a gender fluid character, because let me tell you, as the gender bent cosplay fans out here, we are very happy. I love me some powerful characters that can also be women. So they either are women or can be women, or either way. So that's kind of like my whole feels about Demon Slayer right now. I don't know why I stumbled on that. I was just looking at the Nezuko, where I just realized that, you know, Zensu has this whole thing for Nezuko and about wanting to get married before, like, he dies on the job. And I'm sitting here like, he has a thing for Nezuko, but at the same time, does she see him as, like, a human? Because, like, we know she sees all humans as, like, family. So is it weird that he's pursuing her, but she only sees him as technically a brother? Am I the only one? Either way. So I guess it kind of wraps up my thoughts with Demon Slayer. I had a lot. I was very happy I could binge all of it in about 2 days. I'm gonna go see the movie this weekend. Very excited. Cannot wait. So either way, I also, probably next up, I'm gonna be talking to a friend. I just watched the Sonic movie, finally. I know I'm way late on that. I'm like 2 years late on that, or like a year and a half late. Regardless, I'm really excited to talk on that. So I actually have a friend of mine, because watching it, video game movies are really hard to do right, and I really feel like they did this one pretty well. And so I have a lot of things to talk about it and really happily rant about. It'll be a happy rant. So if you guys are interested in hearing the Sonic movie, the happy rant, most likely, sounds like I'll have my friend Gabe on. And he's a Sonic fan. He's actually had an amazing cosplay of Dr. Robotnik from it, and I can't wait to have him on to talk about it. Regardless, hopefully, if you guys made it all this way, I appreciate it. Once again, I'm Dakota, aka Dueling Pisces on Insta, and sorry. Oh, why did I burp? Like, breathing stopped just then. But I'm Dueling Pisces on Insta if you're trying to find me. I know I'm Dueling Pisces on YouTube now officially too, so I am so happy that you listened all the way through. I appreciate it. I'll see you guys back here soon. Thank you so much, and